Welcome to the Ghost Stories of the Battles channel, where we delve deep into the eerie echoes of history and unveil the chilling tales buried beneath battlefields and tragic events in American lore. Today, we invite you to join us as we explore an often overlooked tragedy, the Hartford Circus Fire of 1944, and the ghosts that linger in its wake. Imagine a vibrant carnival filled with laughter and joy, suddenly engulfed in chaos and flames. The scent of popcorn mingling with the sweet sounds of children's laughter is abruptly severed by the horrifying screams of panic. What remains after such horror? Could the spirits of those lost still wander where their laughter once thrived? The very ground we tread upon can sometimes carry the whispers of yesteryears. And in Hartford, those whispers are particularly haunting. Set in Hartford, Connecticut, the Circus Fire tragedy claimed the lives of over 160 individuals, leaving countless more with life-altering injuries and scars. This pivotal event in history reminds us of the fragility of life amid grand celebrations, and the ways in which echoes of grief can transcend time. The flames that extinguished so many lives also ignited sorrow that would linger far beyond that fateful day. Now picture the historic fairgrounds, once animated with joy, now shrouded in an unsettling silence. The air is still with a persistent chill, scenting the breeze with charred memories. Flickering shadows dance across the grounds as dusk settles in, suggesting that the past is never quite gone. As we journey through the stories of those impacted by the fire, may we find the courage to face the remnants of their echoes and understand what lies amidst the tragedy. Story 1: Whispers of the Tense. Julie Hartman was never one to believe in ghosts. As a local historian in Hartford, Connecticut, she dedicated her life to unraveling stories lost, the time tales of triumphs, heartbreak, and the forgotten souls who once walked the earth. The Circus Fire of 1944 ignited a burning curiosity within her, a fascination entwined with those tragic flames that consumed more than just a carnival. It extinguished dreams, laughter, and lives. On a fateful autumn afternoon in 2023, Julie found herself drawn to the remnants of the old fairgrounds. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and rotting canvas. She had always imagined the splendor of the circus' vibrant colors, the sound of laughter, the scent of caramel popcorn wafting in the breeze. Yet the dilapidated site that stretched before her now was a ghostly echo of that thrill, overtaken by weeds, rust, and shadows of the past. One tent remained defiantly upright amid the decay. Its faded fabric wore a tattered story of its own. Peering through a rip, Julie could visualize the once bustling scene: children gaping at the tightrope walkers above, the roar of lions, and the laughter that burst freely like confetti into the air. She swallowed hard, reminding herself that this was not merely a somber monument, it was a profound legacy. Gripped with both excitement and apprehension, Julie stepped through the frayed entrance. Stepping inside the tent was like stepping into a time capsule. The air felt charged with an electric current that tingled against her skin, a sensation she couldn't shake. Shadows twisted among the beams, teasing her vision, beckoning her deeper into the silence. As she examined the dust-laden artifacts, a cracked wooden seat, a broken clown's shoe, one thought bombarded her. What had transpired here? The sun began to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows that morphed the timeless space into something oddly alive. Faint whispers threaded through the stillness, flickering at the corners of her mind like wraiths flitting past. Julie shook her head, attributing them to her overactive imagination, yet could not dismiss the prickling at the nape of her neck. What if the spirits of those lost lingered, restless among the memories? Ours slipped away as she delved into research materials, nestled in her bag newspaper clippings detailing the chaos and horror that claimed the lives of 169 souls. Julie's heart raced as she read first-hand accounts from survivors, their terror spilling over with each word. The accounts fed her fervor, but as the scenes unfolded, children separated from parents, performers scrambling for their lives, a wave of despair crushed her excitement, twisting it into a raw urgency to understand their plight. Suddenly, a flicker caught her eye, drawing her attention to the far side of the tent. In the dim light, She swore she saw the figure of a girl, her silhouette pale against the textured backdrop of the tent. Heart pounding, Julie hesitated. "Is someone there?" She called out, her voice wavering. The figure remained still, cloaked in shadows yet somehow brimming with sorrow. Slowly it turned. A young girl with hollow cheeks and wide, mournful eyes gazed back at her, spectral in nature yet impossibly real. "You shouldn't be here," the apparition murmured, her voice a fragile echo, laden with grief. "Who are you?" Julie found herself whispering, inexplicably drawn closer despite the sense of dread expanding within her. Are you a survivor?" "I was here," the girl whispered, her form shimmering like smoke caught in a breeze. "The fire took everyone, my mother, my father, they never came back." The weight of her sorrow struck Julie like cold steel. Tears prickled at the corners of her eyes. "I'm so sorry," she replied, searching for words to soothe the child's unyielding pain. "I can help you tell your story." A flicker of hope glimmered in the girl's eyes. "Will you remember me?" she asked, stepping forward yet remaining a wisp of fog, trapped in memories of despair. "I promise," Julie responded earnestly. Instinctively, the historian reached out as if to touch the girl, but her fingers met only the chill of the air. Instead, images erupted in her mind, the crackling of flames, a stampede of terrified voices, and finally, the oppressive cloud of smoke that snuffed joy from the carnival. Julie focused on the ghostly child, eager to listen, to share her story with the world. "Tell me what happened," she begged, her mind racing to absorb the weight of history, the reality mingling with sorrowful supernatural visions. As the child's disjointed memories unfolded, Julie witnessed the panic erupting in the crowd. The tent had been painted with anticipation, filled with wonder until the fateful moment fire erupted beneath its bright surface. Julie felt the fear, the confusion of parents scrambling for their children, their frantic voice calling into the chaos for loved ones, met with the unbearable weight of helplessness. "I waited," the girl whispered, voice trembling. "I waited for them to come back. But they never did. You're not alone," Julie assured her as despair flooded the space once more, igniting the chilling details of the tragedy that lingered. "People still remember you. Together, we can tell them your story." The girl nodded, her spirit fluttering like a candle extinguished in a draft. "Then they won't forget," she replied, her voice barely a whisper. "But even now, I feel their sadness. I wish I could find peace." In that moment of connection, the air around them thickened with emotion, a melding of sorrow, anger, and unacknowledged grief. Julie found herself engulfed in the heartfelt embrace of the child's pain, a resonance echoing from the past into the present. Suddenly, the darkness in the tent seemed to pulse around her, shadows swirling dangerously. Julie stumbled back, feeling a shift in the atmosphere, an impending dread washing over her. Flickering lights broke through the fog, illuminating faces reflecting loss, like a lens distorting time and space, bringing moments of the past crashing into the living present. As warmth tinged her cheeks, Julie's heart into her throat metallic and bitter. Was she truly standing before remnants of those whose lives ended so violently? A series of phantom images danced before her, twisted recollections of joy executed into catastrophe. Julie grasped at the threads of memories each apparition represented. They sought validation from the world that treasured their fleeting moments. "Do you not see?" the child implored, urgency spiking her transparency. "They are all lost. Like me." Shuddering, Julie understood. The tent was a sanctuary for more than memories. Here resided the unresolved pain of lives never given closure. "Tell me," she urged, locking her eyes onto the fading girl, forcing herself to remain present within the maelstrom of spirits. "Not all of them were saved," the girl whispered, her form growing fainter. "Some are still here, searching for the ones they lost, wearing sadness like a cloak." In an instant, the echoes of latter previously vibrant faded to wails, faces distorted and obscured. A cacophony of haunting cries drowned her senses. Overwhelmed, Julie instinctively retreated, her heart racing. The tent, which had felt infused with life milliseconds before, descended into a living tableau of despair. Help us set them free, the ghostly chorus cried, voices intertwining into a spectral symphony that reverberated painfully in her ears. Help us find peace. Julie's heart thudded painfully against her ribs as fleeting shadows revealed their faces, vibrant yet washed by memories of anguish. Each spirit stood before her, an imprint of the lost moments they wished to reclaim. They are bound, Julie murmured, understanding unfurling within her. You are bound by sorrow. The child's form flickered in acknowledgement, her eyes shining with understanding and hope. Help us remember, the spirits urged. And maybe then, we can rest. Julie was struck by a resolve beyond her own understanding, feeling the weight of history press upon her next words. I will help you. I will honor your story. She vowed with what felt like all the strength residing within her. You will be remembered. You will live on. The chorus rose in a passionate crescendo around her, and a flicker of hope ignited in the depths of despair. If she could find a way to weave their experiences into the living tapestry of Hartford's memory, perhaps the spirits could finally be freed from the weight of the flames. Yet as the spirit's presence began to fade, a sudden chill gripped Julie's heart. What if they found peace not in remembrance, but in the letting go? A ghostly light pierced the encroaching shadows, illuminating the remnants of laughter and love nestled in the crevices of that sorrowful night. With a deep breath, Julie steeled herself, gathering the fragments of their shared histories. The whispers of the tent mingled with her own heartbeat, an invitation into the embrace of the lingering past, a promise to amplify their stories, not let them dissipate like smoke upon the wind. As the last echoes of the spirits faded, Julie's heart felt heavy with their sorrows. A cascade of emotions washed over her, tearing at the fabric of her very core. Leaving the tent, she turned one last time, the chill in the air wrapping around her like a shroud. The child's voice lingered like a delicate thread of hope. Remember, tell our story. As Julie exited the tent, sunlight beckoned her on the far side, yet she felt the weight of darkness still press close. Those fairy echoes followed her, an eternal dance of sorrow and joy, each step made lighter by the promise she had given. The ghosts she had met that evening were not merely memories. They were the guardians of a lost celebration, their laughter mingling with the wails of anguish, insisting on being visible, being acknowledged. Everything about this site felt alive with memories half buried, resurrected through her intentions to tell their tales. Julie knew this was merely the beginning of something deeper, something more profound than curiosity. Their voices would be raised again in song, in mourning, in remembrance. Moving forth, her pulse quickened, not only with fear but with the weight of stories yet to be told. Maybe, just maybe, the flames of the past would whisper through the halls of time, and she would wield that flickering hope as both torch and bridge to the unremembered. As she made her way home, the path before her seemed clearer, lit by the lingering glow of the phantoms she had come to know. The chill was still there, yet it felt familiar. Julie understood this much: those who had been lost were far from gone. They were entrusting her with their tales, insistent that she carry their whispers in her heart. And as she stepped into the quiet of Hartford night, the laughter of the circus echoed somewhere in the distance, alive in her spirit's embrace. Story Tura, the ringmaster's lament. It was a night heavy with the weight of forgotten memories, when Mark Thompson returned to Hartford, a city painted with the shadows of its past. Under the bright, cold moonlight, he found himself wandering the abandoned grounds of the circus, a place his father had once called home, though only fear and shame prodded his memories of that life. Mark had long been estranged from his father, an acrobat who had vanished into the myths and whispers wound tightly around the infamous circus fire of 1944. The air felt different here, electric with a strange energy, almost as if it hoped to share its tales with anyone daring enough to listen. It was a silence laced with echoes, haunting in its stillness, interrupted only by the distant sound of creaking metal and the soft rustle of remnants. The moon illuminated the silhouette of a tattered tent, its fabric flapping like a mourning flag. Mark's heart raced, The allure of closing the loop on a painful family history drew him in. Past the ghosts of ladder and despair that hung like fog at twilight. Each step he took crunched against the brittle earth, and he realized this was no ordinary return. The laughter of children seemed to whisper through the trees, wrapping around him like an invisible cloak, leading him toward the heart of a tragedy he had never known but always felt. It was as if he were being beckoned by unseen forces, back to the spotlight, back to the chaos frozen in time. As Mark ventured deeper into the heart of the grounds, he sensed the weight of history pressing down upon him. The faded memories of the circus beckoned performers who had once danced and played under the big top, their laughter dissolving into the cries of horror that had followed. Suddenly, amidst the lingering silence, Mark spotted a figure standing in the center of the clearing. Tall and imposing, the figure wore a top hat and a coat adorned with brass buds, a ringmaster, frozen in an ethereal spotlight. "Welcome, one and all." The ringmaster's voice boomed, rich and deep, ringing like a bell through the still air. Mark's breath caught in his throat as a shiver cascaded down his spine. The spectral figure radiated a mix of power and sorrow. "Step right up, witness the wondrous spectacle that is life, even in its greatest sorrow." Mark blinked in disbelief as the ringmaster gestured with his hand, and instantly, the air was filled with the sights and sounds of a ring of performers and dazzling lights. He was thrust back in time, witnessing the vivid hues of a circus long extinguished, the laughter, the music, and the rapture crashing against the heart-wrenching aura surrounding the grounds. It was enthralling and painful. "Come closer, boy," the ringmaster beckoned with a flourish. See how joy once filled these souls, as if pulled by an invisible thread." Mark stepped closer. I'm not here for entertainment. I'm just Abba," the ringmaster interrupted, waving a dismissive hand. "Don't trouble your mind with the past. The thrill is in embracing what history demands of us. I am but a keeper of these spirits." With those words, the scene transformed once more. Mark felt himself surrounded by trapped souls reliving their last moments, their hopes and dreams steeped in the swirling flames that had devoured them all. He caught sight of a performer, a trapeze artist, suspended in mid-air, caught forever in the euphoric bliss of flight. The bright eyes around him glimmered with enthusiasm, yet they dampened into shadows as the tragedy of that night glowed at the periphery. "You see," the ringmaster continued with an all-knowing grin, "we were beautiful, vibrant, alive. Yet one fateful spark turned everything to ash. This place once held ladder, tightrope walks, and the thrill of the tumble. Your father danced here. And now, his spirit lingers like those who lost their lives a lament in the line of the performance." Suddenly overwhelmed by the memories flooding around him, Mark stumbled back. "Why are you showing me this? I don't want to feel this pain." The ringmaster's smile softened, the edges of his mouth dipped with sorrow. "Because you must feel it. The sorrow is shared. It runs through you, through your father's veins. He was not just a performer, he was a father, and he bore the weight of his choices. This fire bound you in ways you've yet to comprehend." Mark's own past unraveled painfully before him, the unspoken words, the resentment that lingered, and the boyhood memories of a father who had chosen a life of performance over one of family. With each moment of clarity, he fought the encroaching despair as he realized that his father, too, had faced unimaginable loss that fateful day. As the vision faded, revealing the treacherous chaos when the flames ignited, cries of panic surrounded him. Mark could almost hear the crackling of wood and the screaming of 1,000 frightened souls. The sight of terrified children clinging to their mothers, unable to grasp the horror unfolding around them, etched deep into his mind, anchoring him in a sea of fear. The ringmaster, now a bearer of empathy, stepped beside Mark, allowing him to witness the heart-touch without judgment. "Look," he urged, pointing toward a spectral figure of a woman, frantically searching for her child in the chaos, a horror-stricken gaze transforming into unbearable despair. "This is the grief that courses through time, the pain that shifts between generations. You think you know loss. You've yet to understand how deep it runs. As time shifted around him, Mark found himself in the midst of a whirlwind of emotions: grief for the lost and anger for his own past. The ringmaster's presence became a steady anchor amid the tumult. But you must forgive. Within these walls of sorrow, there's a chance for redemption. Will you face the legacy of this fire? Mark nodded, the overwhelming weight of lost potential bubbling to the surface. He yearned for the connection, the understanding that had been camouflaged beneath years of estrangement. He wanted to hear the stories, to learn who his father had been outside of circus lights. You see, boy, the ringmaster continued, the circus is about togetherness, unity and joy and suffering. Your father wore a mask, one part performer, one part man haunted by secrecy. His love kept him captive even as his acrobatics dazzled the world. Frozen in time, Mark felt memories crash over him like waves. Vivid moments of laughter echoed his father's voice calling him from the bleachers. Warm summer days, spent attempting acrobatic feats of their own. But mixed among them were the memories of their distancing, the bitterness that had crept in as father and son drifted farther apart. The ringmaster's voice resonated deeper. The flame that took us will never die. It inhabits the echoes of our existence. With acceptance comes release. With sudden clarity, Mark realized it was not too late to mend the fissures. Returning to the circus grounds was more than just an act of rendezvous with history. It was a reclaiming of his legacy, a desperate pursuit of understanding. What do I need to do? Mark finally whispered, pulling emotion from the depths of his heart. Speak to him. The ringmaster gestured toward the fading figures of the performers surrounding them. Find the truth in their stories. Your father's pain woven into theirs. Own the history that binds you all. Set them free. Compelled by the ringmaster's wisdom, Mark gathered the strength to step into the flickering glow, illuminating the remnants of the carnival. He sought connection through the shadows, the chaos, and through the painful, beautiful remnants of laughter. That night, he turned to them and began to listen not just to their cries, but to the laughter entwined with their regrets. One by one, they recounted how they had lived, their laughter entwined with sorrow. Each tale held echoes of struggle, resilience, and a shimmering thread of hope that tugged at the very essence of human spirit. With each interaction, weight dissolved, heartbreak turned to understanding, and the voices of lost loved ones began to soothe the scars that lined Mark's own soul. Together they confronted their shared history, spectral memories mingling with his own, a ballet between the living and the lost. And just as the last ghostly figure relayed their final tale, Mark felt himself breaking free from the burden of resentment, edging toward forgiveness. Each confession carved a path back to the father he was estranged from and illuminated a newfound understanding. With the final whispers of the evening, the ringmaster, still resplendent in his grandiose splendor, turned toward Mark. The night wanes, and so too does the pain if you choose to let it go. In the name of all cherished souls, let healing begin. As the shadows of the circus faded into the dawn's light, Mark found his voice rising above the stillness, filled with warmth and intimate prayer for those lost. I forgive you, Dad. The words floated into the air, mingling with the scent of nostalgia and smoke, ready to be carried into the cosmos. As the first rays of dawn painted the skies in hues of orange and gold, a warmth spread through Mark's heart. He stood alone, yet surrounded by a soft glow that began to envelop the entire circus ground, as if acknowledging the closure that had finally emerged from the ashes. The ringmaster, now a fading silhouette, tipped his hat in a gesture of respect. Remember, boy, their laughter echoes still, but it is your joy that shapes the future. He faded into the ease of morning as if he had never existed beyond the veil. The phantoms of the performers began to dissipate, their burdens lifted into the ether like confetti scattered in the wind. From that day onward, Mark chose to return to Hartford, not just to remember but to rejoice. He would tell his father's story, intertwining it with the lives of those lost, the acrobats, the children, the laughter, and tragedy bringing to light the circle of existence. He departs as a changed man, his heart warmed by the connections fostered in the echoes of his family's history. Grateful that the ringmaster's lament broke the darkness that tethered him for so long. Standing among those shadows was not just a reckoning, but a reverberation of the heart, a realization that within the pain lay legacy rich in love waiting to bloom. And so, as the early morning sun kissed the guttering remnants of the circus grounds, Mark left with a spirit rekindled, ready to embrace the future. Yet, another tale lingered in the air, a tale woven with protection and love, a tale of those lost children of the flame, still whispering their fears and louder among the tattered remnants of the tent. As the light fully broke, the wind carried forth a new whisper, beckoning with the promise of unseen guardians watching over those who had suffered. Shadows danced, hinting at connections yet to be made, revealing that not all was lost within the ashes of tragedy. The spirits touched the tender clutches of time, enduring in their vulnerability, awaiting the compassion of those willing to listen. What stories remained hidden in the shadows? What lingering echoes of past tragedies begged for attention? Indeed, as Mark ventured from the embrace of the past, he ventured closer to the lost children yearning for safety, a haunting exploration pulse like an untold tale waiting to waken from its waiting slumber. Story 3. A Children of the Flames. The chill in the air wrapped around Amelia like a shroud as she stepped onto the once vibrant circus grounds. Now desolate and lingering with shadows, the site echoed with the laughter of children long lost. A child psychologist who spent years understanding grief and trauma, Amelia felt an overwhelming pull toward this tragic history. Her eyes scanned the abandoned tents, where colorful fabric had once set the stage for joy and wonder. Now, only hushed whispers floated in the breeze, each gust a somber reminder of what had transpired on that fateful day in 1944. She walked past the remnants of the big top, a mere skeleton of its former glory, imagining how it had once been alive with the sound of clinking coins and delighted shouts. Her heart ached for the children who had come here to escape their troubles, only to meet a horror beyond imagination. Armed with her notebook, Amelia hoped to find inspiration for her work. Understanding the grieving spirit of those lost would be her way to heal her own heart. What she found was something much deeper. Sudden echoes of laughter danced in the breeze, sending shivers down her spine. It wasn't just the sound of children. It was the vivid laughter of the very souls that once reveled in this place. As she ventured further, a sense of playful mischief floated through the air. It drew her deeper into the heart of the remnants, where she was determined to confront whatever truths laden beneath the surface of joy and tragedy. As Amelia wandered past a ragged clown's costume and an old, tarnished unicycle, a soft giggle caught her attention. She swiveled around, her pulse quickening. There, outlined against the remains of the colorful tents, stood a group of spectral children, their figures shimmering like mirages. Their faces were joyful but faded, cloaked in nostalgia and tinged with sorrow. "Come play with us," a little girl with golden curls called out, her voice clear yet dreamlike. Heart racing, Amelia crouched down to their level. "What's your name?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Lila," the girl beamed, her excitement infectious. "We can't leave yet. We just want to have fun one last time." Is this a figment of my imagination? Amelia thought. But the children felt so real, their laughter echoing like a melody from another life. Around them, the ground once bustling with now bore witness to the innocence that had been stripped away. It was as if time had paused, capturing the joy of a fleeting moment before the flames devoured it all. Amelia tore her gaze from the spectral vision and pulled out her notebook, feeling compelled to record this vivid connection. What happened here? She urged gently, the urge to understand clawing at her in more than curiosity. Suddenly, she was met with somber faces. "The fire, it came so fast," Leela whispered, looking down at her ghostly companions. "We didn't see it until it was too late. Now we are stuck here, waiting." Another boy, tall and lanky with freckles dusting his cheeks, chimed in. "I wanted to be a tightrope walker. I was gonna maze everyone," he lamented. gaze flickering with both pride and regret. But I never got the chancy. A sense of loss washed over Amelia like a tidal wave. She understood the emotions that lingered, the fears that held these children captive in the twisted memories of a single day. They had once dreamt and played without a care in the world, unaware that fate had woven a tragic narrative around them, a narrative that tied them to the very soil they called home. As if beckoned by her thoughts, another figure manifested, a young girl holding a stuffed animal, her face marred by sadness as she stepped forward. "My brother," she began, sobbing softly. "He didn't come back." Amelia's heart wrenched at the raw emotion that pierced the air. She felt compelled to comfort them, though she had no tangible way to alleviate such profound grief. "Your brother, he's still here, 'tisn't he?" She gently prodded. Their eyes flared with understanding as they sensed the depth of Amelia's empathy. Through tears, they recounted their stories, weaving their memories like threads in a tapestry. They relived the fun of the circus festivities, the thrill of rides, the laughter of performers, and the camaraderie of childhood. Each tale gradually spilled into fragments of that horrific day, leading Amelia through a narrative rich with joy, but tainted by an irrevocable loss. As the stories flowed, Amelia listened intently, capturing every detail in her notes, yet feeling the weight of their sorrow ink into her heart. Their dreams had been wrapped in a veil of flames, snatched away just as their latter faded into cries of despair. Connor, the freckled boy, leaned closer, peering into Amelia's eyes. "Will we ever be free?" he asked, hope flickering like a dying candle. For the first time, Amelia felt the depth of their longing. They were not just spirits bound to the past, they were lost pieces of innocence yearning to be freed. "You can find peace," she whispered, trying to impart the strength of her belief into the air between them. "But you have to let go of the pain." The ghosts of the children paused, glancing at each other with uncertainty. Amelia took a step forward, her heart pounding with urgency. "Talk to me more about the things you loved. What made you most happy? Let's remember the good and find a way to carry it forward." They hesitated for a moment, but slowly began to share more heartwarming memories, the tone of their voices shifting from despair to joy. Leela fluttered with excitement, telling tales of her favorite games, how she loved to dance under the big top. Asked about their dreams, the children's spirits shone. They dreamed of becoming clowns, trapeze artists, and pet owners. Amelia prompted them to reveal more, an echo of laughter rolling out as they indulged in the festivities that danced behind their eyes. Moments became eternities as stories wrapped around them like the warmth of a hug, reminding Amelia of the genuine happiness that once pulsed through their innocent veins. She absorbed everything, honoring their memories while cradling their fears. But as darkness loomed overhead, she sensed their plight intertwining with a heavy shadow. It was now or never. "You need to say goodbye. You don't need to forget, but you must release the pain," Amelia urged softly. "Your laughter, it can still echo through this place if you let it." "Can we try?" Leela asked timidly, glancing at her friends. "Of course," Amelia reassured them, feeling a fierce desire to help them transform their sorrow into something beautiful. She led them to the unobstructed heart of the old circus ground, a sacred space now stilled under the watch of towering trees. With tender hearts and trusting spirits, they gathered, longing to acknowledge their past. They began to chant their favorite memories together, their voices dancing through the remnants of the ground, a symphony of childhood echoing beneath the shadows. Each memory painted vibrant images in Amelia's mind, the latter, games, and dreams that had once lit up the grounds. The air thickened with a swirl of light and warmth, draping them in a veil of brilliance. As they spoke their goodbyes, Amelia felt a shift within herself. Each word glided through the air, lifting burdens and sorrows, until they united in the soft melody of their cherished memories. The spirits teetered on the precipice between joy and melancholy, but slowly, they started to smile, faces glowing with newfound relief. With laughter harmonizing with her heartbeat, Amelia knew that they were finally ready to let go. As moonlight trickled through the leaves, casting soft beams across the ground. She witnessed the children's forms begin to dissolve into tremors of light. Their laughter echoed, a bittersweet melody fading into the ether, becoming intertwined with the very fibers of the remnants around them. Leela waved a final goodbye, her spirit shimmering in soft luminescence. "Thank you, Amelia," she whispered, her voice resting gently upon the breeze as the other children followed suit, bidding farewell to the confines of their pain. Amelia stood silently amid the empty grounds, her heart full yet achingly hollow. She felt lightness in the air, an overwhelming warmth trickling through her as the spirits of the children found their peace. The release of their laughter now permeated the atmosphere, an echo of pure joy, and a fleeting reminder of cherished memories that could survive any flame. The echoes of laughter remained, but now they danced through the air with an air of tranquility, wrapping themselves around Amelia's heart like a comforting blanket. The children's spirits had departed, leaving behind soft whispers of their dreams, appropriate legacies of innocence intertwined with the tragic tale of the past. Amelia stood alone on the hallowed ground, absorbing the stillness that enveloped her, feeling a possessive connection between the present and the echoes of the lost. The colors of the circus, once vibrant and screaming with life, now settled into muted pastels, merging beautifully with the memories they had graced her with. From that day forward, Amelia transformed her practices, intertwining her work with the healing stories of lost children. She carried the spirit of Leela and her friends in her heart, sharing their joy and sadness in her sessions with grieving families, illuminating the parallels between loss and life. The children's memories found new homes, becoming stories born anew on the lips of those seeking solace in their darkest moments. As twilight turned to dusk, Amelia found strength in the haunting knowledge that life would always continue, and that joy could arise from the ashes of tragedy. The circus grounds remained, holding secrets that whispered beneath the floorboards, forever preserving the souls of children who had danced. They're the children of the flames, now at peace among the flickering remnants of their past. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the quiet grounds, Amelia couldn't shake the feeling that another tale lurked in the corners of history, one that spoke of the inferno that had engulfed the vibrant lives of not just the innocent children, but of anyone who had once trodden on this cursed land. Perhaps, just perhaps, the spirit still had more to tell. The weight of the past lingered heavily, calling forth a greater understanding of the fire that had ravaged this place so many years ago. For as much as they had shared, she sensed an aching reminder that not all accounts had been fully acknowledged. What other secrets awaited her? And could the remnants of the tragic fire form a bridge leading toward healing, not just for the lost children, but for the adults caught in the aftermath of that horrifying day? Amelia turned her gaze back to the fading light, her heart pounding with anticipation, ready to step into the next chapter of a haunting history, ever eager to uncover the depths of a tale that still shimmered with sorrow amidst the joy. Story 4: The Fire That Never Died. The wind howled as if mourning, guiding the unnamed wanderer through the abandoned circus grounds of Hartford. The sound of nostalgia taunted them, echoing memories of laughter and joy that had long been replaced by an unsettling silence. Each step on the cracked earth felt both familiar and foreign, an inexplicable pull drawing them closer to the remnants of a bygone era steeped in tragedy. This stranger had inherited whispers of the disaster through generations, a flicker of historical legacy that ignited curiosity and dread. Stories told by family members who had witnessed the horror always surfaced during autumn evenings when shadows stretched long against fading sunlight. But they'd remained just that, stories. Now, haunted by images of flames licking at the sky and anguished cries drifting through the night air, the wanderer sought more than simplicity in these tales. They were here to confront the past, to face the emotional burden of loss that had cast a shadow over their lineage. Soon, a chill enveloped them, causing the hair on their arms to rise. In the fading light, the remnants of the circus tent swayed gently, whispering secrets of a dreadful night. grasping a map from a fraying pocket. The wanderer scanned the layout of the grounds, searching for the familiar places their ancestors had described: the ticket booth, the elephant's pen, the center ring where laughter had swirled like confetti before everything had turned to ash. Little did they know that the ghosts of that fateful night were waiting, their stories longing to unfold. As the wanderer approached the tent's edge, a sudden gust swirled about, as if the air itself wanted to pull them inside. Heart thundering, they crossed the threshold. The scent of burnt rubber and old cotton filled their lungs, an ethereal reminder of the fire that had ravaged this ground. Each step deeper into the tent transported them into a different time, a vivid recollection manifested through the aging fabric. Then, amidst the silence, they stumbled upon crates piled high in the corner. Opening one, a cascade of fragile letters tumbled out, their pages yellowing and tender to the touch. Letters written in barely legible script, drenched in emotion, chronicled the lives of those who had performed here. The wanderer began to sift through them, entranced by snippets of life tales of daring acrobats, awe-struck children, and the joyous sounds of a world before tragedy. Suddenly, a glimmer caught their eye: an old ticket stub, crumpled and stained, marked by the date that would forever haunt this community: July 6, 1944. As they clutched it in trembling fingers, the atmosphere shifted. A chill enveloped them, heavy and weighed down by sorrow. The walls of the tent seemed to pulse, as if the spirit world was thrumming just beneath the surface. Then, beside them, a figure began to emerge: a spectral woman, her silhouette woven with the fabric of past dreams. She wore a tattered costume adorned with fading sequins, yet her eyes burned with the fire of unquenched memories. The wanderer froze, eyes wide with a mix of fear and intrigue. "I am Alyssa," the spirit spoke, her voice a mere wisp, carried on the feathers of the winds. "Do you seek the truth of that night?" "Yes," the wanderer whispered, their voice barely a breath. "I want to know what happened." Alyssa's form flickered, taking on a more solid shape as she began to recount the chaotic rush of the audience. The radiant colors of the tents transformed into a mosaic of fire. The crackle of flames that roared as they seized the canvas, the screams of children caught between joy and terror. "We were trapped," she said, a tear slipping down a hazy cheek. "Fire engulfed us, yet still we fought to save each other. But the flames, they don't discriminate. They consume goodness and innocence alike." The wanderer felt heavy with the weight of her words. There was a curse upon this place of guilt for those who survived, and for those unable to escape the wrath of the inferno. Many lost their lives that night, not just performers, but families who came to laugh, to remember what joy felt like. "We were consumed by fire, but the fire never died." Alyssa lamented, her form losing focus as she spoke of her friends' joyful souls entwined with laughter, now forever caught in the blaze. And with those words, the room filled with the echo of children's joyous laughter, slowly fading into anguished cries that resonated through the corners of the tent. Each note pierced the fabric of the wanderer's heart, igniting their own buried pain, for they had lost family to tragedies that had marked their lineage. Alyssa turned to them, her presence softening, a glimpse of warmth radiating despite the chill. "You are not here by chance. You carry our memories within you. There is a reckoning to be had between the living and the dead." Compelled by her insistence, the wanderer began to understand the depth of their connection. They spent hours with Alyssa, absorbing the stories she shared from that fateful night. They spoke of people they both wished to know, of fearlessness and calamity, yet also of bravery, igniting flame in those who had struggled to save one another amidst the terror. As the stories unfolded, the wanderer sought to grasp the weight of this fire that had never truly extinguished. Shadows flickered around the tent as if spirits unyieldingly danced between worlds. In every letter they uncovered, every item they discovered, the tragic heartbeat of history pulsed beneath a skin of sorrow. Within the tents now tattered and worn, tales of resolution fought against the feelings of helplessness. Together, they wove a performance of healing, a bond strengthened by shared tragedy. "They seek closure," Alyssa said gently, Help them find what they lost, and you will free us all." Compelled now with purpose, the wanderer ventured out into the chilling night, the map in hand guiding them to the remnants of the stage where moments of happiness once thrived. Now only echoes remained as distant memories. They collected artifacts, old photographs of families, trinkets belonging to performers, reminders of vibrant days forever lost to time. Each piece dug deeper into the history that screamed of loss, but also hope. Back at the tent, the wanderer gathered Alyssa and the collective spirits. They shared the items with those who had perished, voicing names that had slipped from memory. The atmosphere thickened with reverence as the spirits grew closer, yearning for recognition and release. As dawn approached, the colors of the morning punctured through the haze, casting light upon the gathered souls. Together, they forged a bridge of empathy. Anguish echoed in each moment, a plea sent skyward filled with longing for peace. Chains of sorrow began to loosen, as a union materialized before the wanderer's eyes. The fire may have consumed the living, but it had forged bonds that could traverse the realms of life and death. Witnessing spectral figures find their places among the softening darkness, the wanderer stood humbled and drained. Shadows grew lighter. The weight of memories unwilling to be tucked away fell gently, in place a patchwork woven across time. They had borne witness to the flames that raged within the hearts of those lost, no longer constrained by fear or despair. As the night began to fade, the spirits gathered, their laughter mingling with the soft whispers of morning. They floated together, the collective beats of unified souls, stirring peace in the spaces where tragedy once hung heavy. In the distance, the glow of rising sun offered vibrant hues, kissing the old canvas with life anew. The wanderer's heart brimmed with overwhelming emotion as they felt a sense of closure wash over them. For they had traversed the sorrow of those lost that day and found healing in sharing the weight of their stories. Eventually, as the embers of the past faded into the shy light of dawn, Alyssa stood before the wanderer, her figure brighter and more fluid than before. "You have freed us," she said softly, pride sparkling within her ghostly eyes. "Thank you for remembering and giving us a voice." The wanderer nodded, tears pooling as they looked around. Each spirit had stepped from the shadows of anguish and despair, gathering their essence into the sighing wind woven together. The dance of their lives now a gentle breeze whispering promises of remembrance. Though the history written here was steeped in tragedy, the spirit of the circus endured, igniting a flame of hope amidst the ashes. The bond forged on that fateful night echoed, forever lingering amidst the memories etched into the fabric of the site. As they stepped out of the remnants of the tent, the wanderer felt a weight lift from their shoulders. The ghosts no longer lingered in sorrow, but soared with lightness, freed from the grasping flames of their fateful night. But the wanderer also knew, and would carry this truth with them, that the past would remain a part of them, echoing in laughter and memory, reminding future generations of loss, resilience, and the healing power of shared stories. As we draw the curtain on our journey through the haunting shadows of the Hartford Circus Fire, we reflect on the intertwined tales of joy and tragedy that linger in the air. Each story we've shared the whispers of lost performers, the ringmaster's lament, the innocent laughter of children, and the wanderer's confrontation with the past paints a complex emotional tapestry woven from the threads of loss and longing. The grounds that once thrummed with vibrant life are now a silent testament to the fragility of celebration, where echoes of laughter intertwine with cries of despair. The spirits of that fateful day do not seek vengeance. Instead, they linger, absorbing the light of remembrance and intertwining their sorrow with its warmth. And through their stories, we experience their pain, their hopes, and the unbreakable bond formed in tragedy. The young girl who lost her family teaches us about grief, while the ringmaster shares a legacy of love and ambition brought to an unnatural end. The specters of children remind us that even the innocent are touched by the cruel hand of fate, their desires for safety whispering through the trees. We invite you, dear viewers, to engage with these stories. Share your thoughts and emotions about these haunting tales in the comments below. Did any particular story resonate with you more deeply than the rest? Perhaps some of you have your own tales of loss, and we encourage you to share those experiences. Remember, every story adds a voice to the countless echoes of the past, breathing life into memories that deserve to be honored. The question lingers like the mist over the grounds. What stories do the flames still whisper on the wind? Are we ever truly free from the echoes of our past? In this world, where the boundaries between the living and the departed are so often blurred, it is essential to remember that those who haunt us are simply reflections of what we've lost. They are both a part of us and a reminder of our fragility. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the specters of Hartford Circus Fire, Connecticut. If you found yourself captivated by these spine-tingling tales, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more chilling stories from our haunted history. Until next time, may you walk gently among the shadows, ever mindful of the flickering flames of the past.